Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick comparison while I can of the quad lock system for motorcycles with the Intralock system from Mous. So, I have both of these at the moment because I bought one, had some misgivings, bought the other, and then had a considerable amount more misgivings. So, basically, I got the quad lock first, and I got the case. I quite like the case. It feels like a pretty nice quality case. It's a sort of a TPU plastic. It feels kind of soft but sturdy. It does everything you want. It fits the phone incredibly tight. The only negative there is that if you want to take it off a lot, that will be very difficult. But yeah, it feels like a really good quality sturdy case, and I'm very happy with it. The mount itself, I wasn't too happy with, but that was more because I got this mirror mount thing, and you can see the sort of the bolt sits under there, and it's just in plastic. There's no like metal seating, so eventually that will just push right through. You can tell that's going to fail, and then if that single point fails there, the whole thing flies off. You lose your quad lock, and you lose your hundreds of pounds worth of phone, most likely. So that's just, that I couldn't trust it. I didn't want to put my iPhone 14 on that. Just couldn't trust it at all. So I thought, I'll get the Mous system. It looks really cool, and it is pretty cool. I've got the RAM ball one because I have some RAM mounts. And it locks really nicely. It's a great mount. It's less fiddly than the quad lock. The problem was, and as much as I liked that at first, the case was the single most disappointing thing I have seen in so long. It feels like this nasty, cheap plastic. It has these ugly floating buttons. Like, why is that? What is that, turquoise? That is gross. And to make it worse, these ridges here, where your hand holds it, are sharp. The sides are not even rounded off. They're actually sharp. So when you hold your phone in your hand, they are cutting into your hand. It's like it was designed by someone who doesn't actually have hands. It's bizarre. And Mous themselves pride themselves on making phone cases. So I thought, at the very least, a £50 phone case would be great, even if the mount wasn't. But it isn't. It's awful. I don't want to hold this in my hand. It absolutely just disgusts me. Honestly, I was so glad to get my phone back in the quad lock case after using that for literally about an hour. It was just, yeah. So I knew that wasn't going to work straight away, because if it just ruins the phone and you can't hold your phone normally. I mean, yeah, you can feel it's cheaper, it's lighter. I mean, the quad lock case, that costs what, 30 something, I think, if I remember rightly. It's cheaper and so much better. Now, there's also vibration dampening to take into consideration. So the quad lock system, you have this, this is the RAM ball version that I have here. So this is the vibration dampener, which you can see has this kind of this movement up and down here, and then these dampeners here, and it's got a good sort of tight movement, so it's not sloppy. So like the actual phone will sit on there and it'll hold its weight without it just drooping and flopping around, and it does an amazing job. I love this thing. So I really trust that. Whereas the Mous system has this built-in vibration dampener, and the actual mount itself is already quite heavy. And you can see it just wobbles around. As soon as you put a heavy phone, like an iPhone, on there, it just droops to its extremities. So it's useless. And you're driving around on your motorbike. I used it once with an old iPhone, with an old Android, and my phone was bouncing around so much the whole way. I thought there was no way. I was so surprised it was still there when I actually got to my destination. So I really don't trust this thing at all. I don't trust that to be a useful vibration dampener. It made so much you could hear it rattling around the entire journey. So yeah, I don't really like that at all. So what I would recommend is this. I've gone with if you get the RAM ball system, because the problem I found with the quad lock system is there's too many points of failure. So it's like, if that bolt becomes loose, if I didn't, you know, use Loctite, or I over tightened it, that could fail. The attachment here could fail. The attachment from this to the vibration dampener could fail. And that's what freaked me out and why I ended up buying the Mous one. So what I've kind of settled on is I'll go with the RAM system, because RAM mats, I don't know if you've ever used them, but they're really good. I've got one over here, so something, a RAM arm that looks like that. This attaches to the ball here, and these are great. These don't wiggle themselves loose at all, so I can put that on. It gives me great adjustability to sort of get the angle right, so I know that won't fail. So then all I have to do is Loctite that bolt there, Loctite this into the into there, and you know, it's not going to go anywhere. I'll be perfectly happy. But and the problem is I wanted to Loctite it, but I didn't want it to be permanent. I still wanted to be able to make adjustments. This way I don't need to adjust these two. They're permanent fixtures. So I've got all the adjustability I need with the RAM. So that will work really well for my needs anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to make that comparison, because I watched a few videos where people compared the quad lock to the Mous, and they said that the Mous case was so much nicer than the quad lock. And you know, maybe other Mous cases are nicer. I don't know if there's different quality between different phone models maybe, or maybe they used to make nice cases, but they certainly haven't in this respect. I mean, only detraction here with the quad lock is that it's a little bit slippery. It's not as rubbery as you might kind of hope, and the buttons are quite stiff, but I got used to those two things very quickly. I've never dropped it. The buttons are kind of satisfyingly stiff, actually. I find you don't accidentally do any button presses, so it works well. So yeah, there you go. That is my review, and my suggestion is to just pass up on the Mous, get the much cheaper quad lock, which has way more modularity, way more options, so you can just make it fit your bike and your life. And yeah, obviously it's a little fiddlier messing around with this lever clicking away and this cool little system where it just clicks on, but absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. You do get used to the quirks of how to get this to click on nice and easily once you've used it a few times. So there you go. That's my thoughts on quad lock versus Mous. So I hope that was helpful to you.